Welcome back to another Anathema Adventures. This time, we end up hitting a double low security, go deep down a couple of different chains, and even find ourselves in null security. First, however, if you did not catch the 70 million single site found in our last adventure, click the card above. While this time around, nothing that massive from a single site is found. Over 200 million is looted between data, relic, and blueprint copies profit. While there were some cans along the way with the ever-taunting single piece of metal scrap, others would give a more respectful 10 million, 20 million, or even higher in ISK worth of loot. This is also one of the reasons why I love flying cheaply. To replace my Anathema, it is around 40 million ISK. Anytime I can make it back home with 5 times that in value was a decent trip. Speaking of which, on how I got into this first low security system, I ended up finding a wormhole in high security that took me down here. No need to use filaments, no jumping through camped entry points into low security. I do love the pure chaos these things create by allowing me to tunnel all the way down here without much warning. The area I ended up in was a bit active, mostly from other people exploring. There also might have been someone attempting the log-off camping trick of an exploration site. That, or they just kept popping back into one of the systems I end up exploring for no known reason. This low security system ended up having quite a few wormholes to check out. A couple of them even ended up being rather useful. More intently enough, I found myself in faction warfare space. This poses quite a different challenge in trying to work out how safe or not an area is. Most people looking to conduct faction warfare gameplay have little interest in an explorer like me. It also means there are faction warfare exploration sites that are of no use to me, let alone having the ability to run them. Not having found much in the first system, I ended up checking out a wormhole that ended up taking me to yet another low security system. Such an occurrence seems to be rather rare, as I often don't find myself running into this kind of situation. This system ended up having 2 herons who were scanning sites. At least it seemed like they were. They acted very strangely, as you will see in a bit. Since they just had basic scanner probes and did not seem like any threat at all, I more or less just ignored them, other than keeping an eye out if they were closing in on any sites I was running. The first site of the night ended up being Serpentis. While nothing massive, getting a quick 13 million in loot already puts me in a good mood. It seemed that at one point, they managed to scan down the site I was in. There, however, seemed to be little care for it. From what I could gather, they seemed more interested in wormholes. I always find it somewhat amusing when someone is out scanning sites, and they are just sitting uncloaked on a wormhole. Thankfully, for this person, I'm just here for exploration sites. While one might wonder if this person was acting as bait, I can tell you from checking out this wormhole later on, it was not the case. Before going too deep, check out wormholes. I decided to go and check out a few more low-security systems. I was hoping to find a ghost site, which did not occur. I'm also willing to admit I've spent more time exploring in wormholes than in low security. I knew they had some rather strange sites down here, and I was at least hoping to run into things I knew very little about. While I do end up finding quite a few wormholes, I already have enough to explore closer to my path back home that I end up ignoring them for the most part. I ended up marking it down that if those don't lead me to anything interesting, I can always come back to this system and check where this leads. Not finding much after checking a few systems, like those other explorers I had run into prior, had already been here. I headed back to someone who might as well be our friend at this point, since we did not try to kill each other. As that is about as much as it takes to become friends with people in EVE Online. It was time to check out some other wormholes. Usually, I stay away from Class 5 and up wormholes. Even more so with this one being a black hole. It had so few signatures to scan that I did not end up staying long. This did not end up looking like one I wanted to further explore its chain. Thankfully, I had quite a few other options. This Class 3, on the other hand, would end up giving me more of what I was looking for. While it was all just wormholes, I simply could not pass up the chance to explore a chain with this being my entry point into it, with a system name like that. It also has quite a lot of explorers getting killed. So, I'm kind of glad there was nothing worth running up. One of the wormholes took me down to null security. It seems I have landed in goon space. It was also rather empty with someone who had zero interest in me being there. That is exactly my kind of place. To my surprise, this place was loaded with sites. A detected angel relic site. Now that is more of what I'm talking about. While I don't usually pull my probes off to the side and move them off D-scan, that pacifier popping up on D-scan got my attention real quick. After waiting around a little bit, I decided to scan down the rest of the sites in the system first. After a short while, the pacifier left, and I felt a bit safer running any sites that I'd find here. This angel site would end up being worth my time. While this is not the best one I've found, it sure beats out a lot of other sites that I'd get on this trip. I'd take hands all day long of 24 million ISK in loot. For a moment that carbon popped up, I thought that was all this could have. Then I noticed the trigger units were a nice find. The other site I found was not that great, so off I went. This class 3 had a ton of sites up. The amount that just makes you think no one's been active here for at least a little while. While you can always hope they are not all just gas sites and wormholes. You don't know till you start scanning down. While it looked really promising at the start, I already knew the last signature I had to scan down was going to be the wormhole I entered from. So I went deeper down the chain. The next system over did not show anything promising as well. So I jumped back, and as luck would have it, a new signature had spawned. My luck with Serpentis relic sites has never been that great. The first thing I hit on the site was dreadful. While I would not say this next can was anything special, it was at least better. Most times, if I can get 1 or 2 good cans in a site like these while being in a class 3 wormhole, that's all it takes. A decent final can, and I'd even get a blueprint copy that I'd make some ISK off from crafting the item. Getting cans like these just seems cursed. Back in low security, another data site was found. I was kind of hoping it would be something strange. I've, however, seen regionals before, and the loot tends to be rather hit or miss. I was not expecting much out of it, with it being a level 2 site. I understand this is why people scan cans to avoid wasting their time hacking ones like these. I, however, like the surprise. Even if I'm let down like this one. It's the unknown that keeps me going back out. No real shock. This site ended up not being worth running. They all can't be winners. I ended up having a few other sites just like this one along the way. Most of them are long forgotten, as they should be. With nothing else interesting after checking out a couple of nearby systems, I headed back into the same wormhole where sites keep respawning, and sure enough, there was another one. I don't usually expect much out of a Blood Raider site, but this one ended up having a couple of cans that paid out better than expected. The nice thing is, I have a use for quite a few of the salvage I've been looting. So I'll be turning a nice little profit crafting with these resources. I ended up going back down the wormhole chain I had been traveling in for the most part. I was looking to call it a night, and I found one last site. This is why I fully clear out data and relic sites instead of just cherry-picking. A few times on this run, I've come back to systems I've been through before and found new sites to run. One thing I've not tested out a lot is exploring a massive chain and then just going up and down it, checking for new signatures. Just when you thought EVE Online might be leaving you a little something nice on your way back home, you find a single unit of metal scraps. I could not help but laugh a little. Not a crazy ending, but a little extra something in a direction I was already going. While the estimate shows it being a little below 200 million in total. After crafting the blueprints and holding on to some stuff that I was not going to craft with to sell at higher prices, I easily broke that amount. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe for further content.